If they don't present Trump in that light, then the eyes come back on them. And there's already a lot of heat on Soros right now. You've got Soros, who was flat out admitted in interviews, flat out came out and said, hey, I'm all about the money and I don't care what happens to anybody in the process of that. Man, all of a sudden these buses show up and there's these people coming off and now they're rioting and they're looting and they're doing all of these things, and that's not us.
Since 2013, we have been given messages from the spirit world through psychic communication, dreams, and personal experiences, which have been validated through numerous paranormal sessions.
My brother Jonathan
and a group known as the Council of 12 have given us predictions, guidance, and information surrounding everything from ufology, spirituality to politics and ancient history, all of which we have investigated to the best of our ability. Throughout this quest, your contribution has been vital to our work. So if you find this video useful, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, join the conversation in the comment section below. You are the ones that help us along this journey. We are so grateful for everything you have given us. So join us on our quest into the cutting edge of research, and welcome to the Paranormal Now investigations.
Codes. In the modern world, we are surrounded by codes daily, through our computers, smartphones and other technologies. Yet codes and symbols have been synonymous with human history. Astrology, numerology, divination, tarot and other such disciplines have been part of human culture for centuries, possibly giving us insight into where we are personally and globally in our evolution. An Nicholes George is a code interpreter and works with amalgamation of these disciplines that she has used to offer insights into our current global awakening and the times we now face on planet Earth. Jessie came into contact with these codes, which form a language to her, after a series of intense transformative experiences, culminating in her experiencing a walk-in. A walk-in is where one soul leaves the body and another soul comes in, normally from the same soul group. Jessie now goes by the name of An, and details her walk-in and other personal insights, along with a day-by-day breakdown of the codes for each day of 2020 in her yearly book, The Code Journey. We asked Anne about her insights of everything that's happening in the world right now. This is what she had to say. 1 minute he's, challenging the WHO, he's challenging social media tech giants, and the next minute he's coming out giving speeches in front of the US flag like some sort of Hitler, and marching down the street grabbing a Bible and having the most weirdest picture I've ever seen taken of a president this side of ever. What the hell is that all about? And even in his personality, you don't quite know which way he's going. Is he a good guy? Is he not? Is he just an idiot? Is he... You can't quite put a handle on the man.
I think Trump is very, very confusing for people. I think there's a lot of stuff that is put out there about him that has not been true. There was, as a reference, there was a picture that was photoshopped, and it was made to make him look like Hitler. And this is part of this whole movement that is behind the riots that are going on right now, which, is so much bigger and part of their agenda. And again, there's so many layers on this. There's so many pieces on this that can be discussed, is they will pick in this particular branch of what it is. And it actually, gets back into Soros, and I can make some of those connections.
Do you have any insight into that particular instant when he cleared the protesters' press? Well, this is how Channel 4 made it look. So whether it's different on the news over there, right? This is how Channel 4 made it look. Was he was giving the speech, and they would show in a side-by-side where there was peaceful protesters, riot police came in, and they literally beat the crap out of them, threw tear gas at them, and literally created
False.
anarchy. And he
False
was
news.
that was like a now that's one of the things that was claimed, because the guy
Yep.
there was two. I hate saying this, but there was two black representatives. There was a black guy representing Trump and a black guy representing Biden. And the black guy representing Trump was absolutely fuming. He was just like he was literally like gonna blow a gasket. But the way he's standing with that Bible looks weird as well. It's as if he's trying to send a message to someone.
Well, and this is where it gets confusing for people, because they wanted to make the Hitler connection. What he was actually signaling was that this event is connected to Soros, who actually does truly have Hitler connections to him. And in that aspect of what happened, it was many hours prior to walking over to that church. Attorney General Barr had told them to clear additional space around the church. And when he arrived, they had not cleared that space. They were supposed to clear another block or so distance because the church had been on fire the night before. There were reports that there was this tear gas thrown into helpless, defenseless, peaceful protesters, which was not the case. They had been given messages over speakerphones and everything to move the crowds, and so the crowds had not been moved. And when AG Barr showed up, the Attorney General Barr showed up, he was like, why is this not moved? And he made them go move everybody right away. And they were given warning. It was not tear gas. The police officers did not have the equipment to defend off tear gas that was being used. There were actually violence happening in that part, which they did not show. So, what it looked like, what it was, two really different things happening there. And so, but this is what happens, because when you've got the media who is being told what to do, coming down the channels through a few people, perhaps from Soros, but him having a very heavy hand in this, they're reporting the way they want it to look, and they want to give this presentation, because if they don't present Trump in that light, then the eyes come back on them. And there's already a lot of heat on Soros right now. The eyes come back on Soros. And so one of his main areas that Soros does is to collaborate these fake media events. He did it with a walking protest that would have meant people had walked barefoot 43 miles a day, carrying children and everything. I know professional, trekkers that don't do 43 miles in a day. They bust these people in. They stage everything, and this is part of what I want to get into. But they do all of these pieces, and then they have the media set up ready to go. They give everybody their commands. They set them up with their tools, so to say, and we do have all of this conflict coming in, because again, people are being told one thing. The groups that are, even the activist groups, are being told one thing, and in order to engage them and get them enraged. Now, you've got Soros, who has flat out admitted in interviews, flat out came out and said, hey, I'm all about the money, and I don't care what happens to anybody in the process of that. I was just listening to that on a 2020 interview earlier today. You've got these pieces where, he's not telling them what he's really doing or what he's really for.
No.
And, these groups that he's recruiting, they don't even realize that they're supporting the very thing that they claim to be against.
Exactly, yeah.
And so here again, we have all of these layers that's going up. And so when Soros creates these events so that he can bring the attacks into places. Now, keep in mind that all the places that the attacks happen are all places that wanted everybody shut down and haven't been opening up completely. they were all places that have a high, and I don't like to think of things as party because there's corruption on both sides, there's good people on both sides, but primarily very strong left-wing people. They're already set up to dismiss these people. Matter of fact, that was already also shown, that out of all these people that were arrested, 400 people that were arrested in the St. Louis area, that they were all released. And so they're already set up to release these people. Soros is already set up to pay the bail on things. There's all of these components that are already in place. And why do they do it? And these groups have come out and flat out said the reason we go to these areas is because they're not going to do anything to us. They don't pack guns like the Trump areas do. They don't, because if we go into an area where everybody's packing guns, they're just going to shoot us. Yeah. So, they pick these areas very, very specifically, but whenever it's a Soros event, it's always going to have something attached to it, such as racism, immigration, something along this line that says, oh, look at the poor people, look at these people, and they try to they recruit these people in on the spot. So it starts off as a peaceful protest, and then they go in and they actually infiltrate their groups, and even the groups that were there for peaceful protesting, to simply say, hey, all we want is justice. We want this to be served, and we want these guys held accountable, and everything was peaceful. And they're like, man, all of a sudden these buses show up, and there's these people coming off, and now they're rioting, and they're looting, and they're doing all of these things, and that's not us. And these people are spray painting things, making, the people, black people or whatever, look bad. Yeah. They're making them look bad. They're destroying their communities. So these people who have fought for their businesses, they fought for every single piece in their life, are just being destroyed. And these people are claiming these are the people they're standing up for, but yet they're destroying them. So you see the conflicts that start to come up in here. And I just wish these groups that are coming out fighting so hard could see that the people that they're taking their information from are the people that they claim to be fighting against. That elite section is the very person that's funding them. I wish they could see that the person that they're trying to go up against is the one person that's trying to fight for the rights right now, is trying to dissolve this. He's trying to get us out of the globalism and the communism models and to get us back into these pieces. Most people have no idea we're all in slavery right now, and that's one of those areas we need to come together, because we're all in slavery to the elite right now, which we are working on getting out of. But people do not understand what this culture of people have been through. They don't have a clue in most cases. I have some awarenesses. Jesse worked with a lot of people of different ethnicities. I wish we had more classes that were based in multicultural studies where people could understand and learn this. But when you take a look, and Jessie was, she was a person that she experienced it. She got cut out of jobs because she was Caucasian. She got cut out of jobs, for different ethnicities and things like that. But she never held a resentment of that. Her grandfather would take people in and give them a meal even when they had almost no place to go because they were traveling and they were weary. And he never asked, do you have a criminal record or anything like that? He didn't care. He just saw them as people and somebody who needed something as they were passing through. And it just amazes me. But these people have had to fight for everything. They have been through so much that most people cannot even conceive about. And you look at giving them some shamble token neighborhood to work with, and they might have 3 or 4 neighborhoods like that compared to 50 white neighborhoods. I mean, you tell me, as a white person, you go down and you walk into a black neighborhood and you try to go walk into a soul restaurant and you tell me how comfortable you feel. When you're the only white person in there and you live that day by day, when you don't have the opportunities, when you don't have the resources to go get an education, when you don't have these things that so many of us take for granted every single day, when you are a mother and that child walks out your door and you know out of 4 or 5 kids that you might get 2 of them to adulthood, and you might, out of those 2, you may or may not have one that can do anything because of the structure and the culture of the drugs, of the different gangs, of these different things that are innate into the areas where they live.